Hello everybody, this is your Dutch Grand Prix roundup show. Oh, lots happened. Ferrari fails, as in 2 drivers DNF. We had McLaren incidents. We've had rookie errors and rookie delights. We've had Hero Hadjar. Oh, we are going to get into it. This is F1 Grandstand. If you're an F1 fan, you're in the right place. Please like, hit the bell, subscribe, get involved, and yeah, it makes a big difference to the channel, and it's lovely to have you watching this video and this roundup show. Did you enjoy the Grand Prix? I hope you did. Let's start with, obviously, we all know who won. Congratulations, Oscar Piastri. My prediction, by the way, as your winning driver today, I did think he was going to beat Lando. But the interesting thing, we'll talk about the McLaren dominance first, and then we're going to get into the Ferrari fails, and then we're going to get into Hero Hadjar, and then we're going to get into driver of the day. We've got a lot to get through, but we've got to start with the obvious stuff. Winner, congratulations, Oscar Piastri. Him and Lando, very close for the whole race weekend. But I have to say, Oscar, really, he took pole. I think he's been slightly more dominant. Lando was keeping almost within DRS zones, actually, when he had an engine failure, oil leak, which turned into catastrophic failure, and he had to stop, didn't finish the Grand Prix. So what does that mean for the driver standings? Well, it means Oscar Piastri extends his lead. He's now currently on 309 points, while Lando's back with 275 points, scoring no points today. So yeah, not great news for Lando, great news for Oscar. What will that mean for the team orders? Anything? Will it mean anything for the team orders? I don't know. Moving forward, there's 9 races left. Oscar's got a nice lead. It's his to lose. Will it change his approach to the next Grand Prix? Will his approach change? Because we have seen that as soon as you get out in front and you got like a 25-30 point lead, we can see drivers, what I would say, alter their mentality to finish the race. Are they as aggressive? I don't know. Oscar seems like a different animal to me, but anyway, congratulations to Oscar. It's a great result. I predicted it, which is always good when you predict it. But he's my pick. Out of the 2 drivers, Oscar is my pick, 100%. So let's get into my next thing. Ferrari fails. So we'll start with Lewis Hamilton, who was actually my pick to be driver of the day. I thought we were going to see an absolutely revived Lewis Hamilton after the break. I thought we were going to see, since he found his connection to his higher power and is coming to this Grand Prix with a refreshed recharge. And do you know what? We have to say, he's been within a 10th or 2 of Leclerc all weekend. So there has been a marked improvement in Lewis. He was doing a great job. And even in the race, he was staying within 1 second of George Russell. It looked good for Lewis, actually. It really did look good for Lewis. So then, well, what happened? Okay, so then on lap 23, Lewis Hamilton, too hot into a corner. When there was rain on the track, he drifted wide onto the paint on the outer side of the banked curve. It just took the traction away from him and he drifted wide into the barriers. It was unfortunate because he really was going well until that point. And his whole weekend has seen a marked improvement in that car for Hamilton. So it was a shame. It was a shame. He was obviously pushing hard and he was holding pace with the Mercedes. So it's an improvement, but the wet weather probably caught Lewis out slightly. He went slightly wide onto the paint on the outside of the bank curve, and then it just took him wide into the barrier, unfortunately. So yeah, that was it for Lewis. But we still had another Ferrari in the race at this point. So what happened to the other Ferrari? Okay, well, Charles Leclerc, he was actually having a good race. A good race, really, until a mistimed pit stop under safe. Well, he pitted 1 lap before a safety car came out. lap 50, I want to say lap 52, 53 off the top of my head. And so they came into pit, and they pushed him out in front of Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes. Now, the thing was, he needed to do what his last pit stop to take him to the end of the race. So Ferrari chose to do a pit stop whilst the tyres were still good, because they didn't want him to go off towards the end of the race, and they thought he'd lose time. So they pitted him earlier than the tyres actually needed to try and get him into that clean air in front of Kimi Antonelli. Now, Kimi Antonelli's at race pace. And then, unfortunately, rookie error, Kimi Antonelli came too hot into a left-hander. Leclerc's high and wide, plenty of track, by the way, plenty of track if Kimi was going to make that move stick to go on the inside line. Unfortunately, Kimi came in too hot. It was a mistake. Drifted out to the wide side of the track and took Leclerc out. Spin, crash, end of Leclerc's race on lap 53. Kimi Antonelli was at fault. He got a 10-second penalty, which did change the order of the Grand Prix significantly. And then almost immediately after that, actually, we'll be going into Kimi Antonelli's race, because another rookie error for speeding in the pit lane. He got another 5-second penalties. So not a great race for the rookie, to be honest, but his pace was okay in the Mercedes. Wasn't as quick as George Russell. He qualified P11, whereas George Russell qualified P5. So he's still not hitting the mark that we need him to hit, really, in my opinion, to keep that Mercedes seat for 26. I know Toto Wolff's probably got a different idea, but that's the situation with how Leclerc and Ferrari failed miserably. It wasn't Lewis Hamilton was his fault. Leclerc was obviously not his fault. It was absolutely Kimi Antonelli at fault. So a nil point, no scoring Grand Prix for Ferrari. Hey Gemma, nice having the chat. Yeah, that safety car got a grunt. Yeah, we saw the safety car a few times today, didn't we? It did make for an interesting race. We saw a lot of midfield change. Quick shout out to Alex Albon. I think he had a great drive today in the Williams. Alex Albon put that Williams P5 after qualifying P15. Big contender for driver of the day. Didn't win it though. Didn't win my driver of the day, but he was close. Another contender for driver of the day is this guy, Ollie Behrman. So Ollie Behrman had his highest finish. He finished P6 in the Haas, but bear in mind Oliver Behrman qualified P19. So he gained 13 positions in this Grand Prix. Yes, safety cars came into play. Yes, pit strategy came into play. But he did it. He put the car on P6. For a rookie, Ollie Behrman didn't really put a foot wrong. So Ollie Behrman, very close to being driver of the day. P19 to P6. He's actually putting himself in the frame for when his Haas contract finishes in the end of next season. Maybe he's going to be the next Ferrari in the Ferrari seat. You know, we saw him on his debut in a Ferrari have an amazing race, didn't we? So Ollie Behrman, great race for him. Got himself up in the driver's standings. He's now up to P16. Only 4 points off Liam Lawson, who Liam Lawson drove well this weekend as well. Liam Lawson unfortunately had a coming together with Carlos Sainz, and they were both battling high up in the midfield. And that was unfortunate because really it was a racing incident. We saw both cars on lap 28. Both had to pit. Lawson's left rear puncture because his left rear touched Carlos's Sainz wing, which then gave Lawson his puncture on his left rear and gave Sainz a broken wing and a front right puncture because of the damage. They both had to pit. Now here's the sad part of that. The sad part of that is they gave Carlos Sainz a penalty. Under no circumstances should that have been a penalty awarded to either driver. It was a racing incident. Absolute racing incident. Carlos Sainz is quite rightly unhappy about it, making his way right now to the steward's office to give them a piece of his mind. Will it get revoked? Well, no, I don't think it will. It's a 10-second penalty. It will stand. But honestly, to the fan and to the informed viewer, they know that absolutely was not either driver's fault. It was a racing incident. Interestingly enough, there was a passing manoeuvre before Charles Leclerc got taken out by Kimi Antonelli. He passed George Russell in a very ambitious overtake. Again, 50-50 whether that was should have been penalised. Obviously, it ended up that he was out of the race anyway. It did look as if all four wheels would be on the white line on an overtake with George Russell. It did look, did Russell give him the right amount of space for that manoeuvre? Again, possibly a racing incident. But there were some exciting things today. We had a few good passing manoeuvres. The rain did come into play. Pit stop strategy came into play. But what went as expected is Oscar Piastri led from start to finish, which leads me on to my favourite part of the show. Who was or is my driver of the day? I've put off mentioning him because he deserves all the credit, this guy. Isaac Hadjar, the rookie of the season. Fair play. Isaac Hadjar qualified P4, held P4 throughout the race. And then due to Lando Norris having that engine failure, Isaac Hadjar took his first podium. Did not put a foot wrong in that Racing Bulls car. Absolutely brilliant. And what I did like was interesting after the race when he was getting his interview. I don't know the guy's name, but he said to him, "So Isaac, have you... is this better than you ever imagined? Have you ever imagined being on a podium?" So Isaac said, well, actually, yes, exactly. I have imagined this. Of course, he's freaking imagined it, that he's visualized it, and now he's got it. You cannot achieve things if you do not see yourself achieving things. Silly question, but right answer. Isaac Hadjar really very composed in his interviews as well. Really came across well, gave a lot of credit to the team, as you should do as a driver. Really a sponsor's dream, actually. I think Isaac Hadjar is the rookie of the season. But the interesting news about Hadjar is they do want him for that second Red Bull seat. But he has it's an open secret on the pit lane. He doesn't want that second Red Bull seat at the moment. He's reluctant to take it because he's having the time of his life in the Racing Bulls. He's racing without the pressure of being in that Red Bull team. He's learning his craft. He's getting the accolades. He's got his first podium. He's absolutely taking Yuki Tsunoda to school, who's in the second Red Bull. Yuki Tsunoda today, for him, not a bad performance. He scored points in P9, but it is not good enough for your lead team, is it? And Yuki has lost his drive at Red Bull. He will not be driving a Red Bull or a Racing Bull in 2026. The document's been leaked. The writing is on the wall. Who is he going to drive for? Well, he's got 9 more races to show he has got something to offer to this sport. Will it be Alpine? I doubt it. Actually, I don't think Alpine are going to be the ones that go for Yuki Tsunoda. I don't know where we're going to see him. If we're going to see him, I have a feeling we might not see him. We might see him as a number 3 driver somewhere, but Yuki Tsunoda, P9, it just is not good enough. Good for the Aston Martin guys today. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, both solid in the midfield, both scoring points. Stroll P7 after crashing out twice over the weekend, not putting a lap time in for qualifying. I mean, Lance Stroll P7, you can't argue with that. He scored points for that midfield team and finished higher than Alonso. When, Alonso qualified, where did he qualify? P10. So Lance Stroll should get some credit today. Again, pit strategy came into play. The weather came into play, and safety cars came into play. But still, that's what happens in Formula One. You still have to get the car in the points, regardless of what's happening in the Grand Prix. So yes, very happy to see the Aston Martins P7 and P8, and I am so excited for the Adrian Newey car in 2026. I say it every time I mention Aston Martin. Hey, hello, I'm going to go to the chat. Hey, Eric, do you enjoy the Grand Prix, my friend? Did you have a good time? Yes, Aston. Yeah, they did well. Isaac did do great today. I've just been saying Isaac Hadjar, driver of the day. I am so pleased for the guy. When a rookie gets his first podium, it is a special day. It is a special day. So yeah, well, Isaac Hadjar is gonna be in demand. Absolutely in demand. And if he carries on the way he's going, he's going to be one of those drivers that we see on the grid for a long time to come. So Isaac Hadjar, absolutely driver of the day. Obviously, anyone who watched my preview show knows I got it completely wrong, but so did a lot of you in the chat. None of you, I'm going to say right now, everyone in the chat on my preview show on Friday, none of you said driver of the day, Isaac Hadjar, did you? Let's be honest. None of you did. But yeah, I went with Lewis Hamilton. But I have to, again, I've mentioned Lewis earlier in the show. He has shown a marked improvement. The error in the race cost him, but I am so pleased that he is within a tenth of Charles Leclerc, 2/10, touching distance of his teammate. That improvement will mean the world to him going into our next Grand Prix. 9 Grand Prix left. It is going to be an exciting end to this season, I hope. But Isaac Hadjar, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, any other big points I should say? I mean, Lando went out lap 65, by the way. So Lando Norris in P2, lap 65 out of a 72 lap race, and staying within touching distance of DRS of Oscar Piastri. So real heartbreak for Lando Norris, scoring no points with 6 laps left of the Grand Prix. Great news for Isaac, because that put him on his very first podium, but Lando will be absolutely devastated. So a quick rundown of what that actually means for the driver standings. We've got Oscar Piastri at the top there on 309 points. Lando, 275 points. They're obviously nailed on for 1-2. Oscar Piastri's now in the driving seat. It's his to lose. It really is. It's Oscar Piastri's championship to lose, but still 9 races left. What will the approach be for the team? How will McLaren manage this now? Now there's a 34 gap between Oscar and Lando. I don't know. There might be some team orders come into play. Lando may play that role of support. I don't think he'll want to do that. Neither driver would ever want to do that whilst it's still mathematically possible. Because, like we've seen today, it only takes one car to DNF, and Lando's back in the game. So it will be interesting to see how McLaren do play that. Obviously, Max, I haven't mentioned Max, but because of Lando's... look, it's his home Grand Prix. Let's give Max a mention. He finished P2 today in a Red Bull car that probably shouldn't deserve to be P2. Max's skill, excellent. He is a 3-time winner here. He won 3 consecutive Dutch Grand Prix, didn't he? 21, 22, 23. Very good. He's on solid podium, P2. He would have been P3, but the engine failure in that McLaren for Lando put him on P2. He seemed very happy with that, actually. He did believe that is the maximum, Max's maximum he could get out of that Red Bull today. So well done, Max. Fair play. Still showing, actually, he is the best driver on the grid in not the best car, but he's Max Verstappen. Let's see what happens next year, because that Red Bull, in my opinion, is not going to be that good. But let's see. 2026 Red Bull, all very, very exciting. So yeah, well done to Max. So after that, George Russell, solid but quiet, really. Had one incident, the Charles Leclerc incident, where they were fighting, I think, for 5th. So George Russell on 184 points in 4th place in the driver's standing. Charles Leclerc in 5th, 151 points. Lewis Hamilton still in 6th on 109. Kimi Antonelli in 7th on 54. So really the top 6 is top 6 is quite unlikely that those positions will even change much between now and the end of the season. So yeah, it's mathematically possible there'll be some changes. Do I think it will? I don't. Not unless something catastrophic happens. I doubt it. And then any real changes? No, not really. We've seen Oliver Behrman get up to 16th, just pipping, on same points as Carlos Sainz on 17th. Carlos Sainz again having a terrible day today. He was driving well, actually. Alex Albon, though, still taking him to school. You cannot really say that Carlos Sainz has kept Alexander Albon honest, because Alexander Albon has consistently performed better than Carlos Sainz, although fair play to Carlos Sainz, he qualified P9 and Alexander Albon P15, so Carlos Sainz showing big signs of improvement, and he was competing in the midfield when he had that incident with Liam Lawson. So Carlos Sainz, there were some improvements. Incidents in the race cost him, and he's still down in P17 in the driver's standing. So that's really the movers and shakers and what went on within the Dutch Grand Prix. That really is your preview. But for me, congratulations to Oscar Piastri. But for me, Isaac Hadjar, the driver of the day, needs all the accolades. Now, if anyone is wondering what's going on with George Russell and Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes contract, not much is the answer. They're going to sign. Okay, they're going to sign. I think what is going on, I think there's some tentative conversations. This is the bit you might not know. I believe there are tentative conversations going on between George Russell's management and one other team for 2027. It seems a little early. But there is, I know from my source in the paddock, that there are some conversations going on with another team. And I know what you're all going to be thinking. Which is the other team? I'll give you a clue. They're British. 2027. That's your clue. I'll talk about it more this week, so you can put your guesses in the chat. But there are pre-conversations going on tentatively about 2027 for George Russell. So I think that'll come into play about the Mercedes contract. Will he be so strict on not signing a one-year deal if these other conversations, which I believe are happening right now with George Russell's management and another British team, which I don't want to. I'm going to do a whole show on it this week, so I don't want to give it away, but I want to hear your guesses in the chat who that might be. If those conversations are positive, I think George Russell may even sign a one-year deal with Mercedes. So that's what's going on with the George Russell. Kimi Antonelli is a different situation. Kimi Antonelli will sign anything Toto Wolff puts in front of him. Toto Wolff is his manager, so Kimi will sign anything that Mercedes drop on his lap, 100%. So don't worry about that. So we will update you on the Mercedes contracts throughout the week, but there are games afoot, I will tell you that. And thank you to Tubby George, who has been giving us some good information on that. I'll be coming to that this week. So yeah, that is your F1 Grandstand Dutch Grand Prix roundup. Oh, Destroy Television. About time I catch you live. Yes, Destroy Television. So good to have you on the live stream. Obviously, it's still nice to watch it on a replay, but live is better. Did you enjoy the Grand Prix Destroy? Did you have a good one? Lots going on today, wasn't there? Safety cars everywhere, incidents, dubious overtake maneuvers, and very dubious penalties given out to people like Carlos Sainz. But Kimi Antonelli receiving his 2 penalties, absolutely deserved. 10-second penalty for causing the collision with Charles Leclerc and taking him out of the race. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I mean, come on, that is rookie as it gets. Kimi Antonelli still needs to improve for me. I don't know if you agree. But yeah, that is your roundup show. Eric, Eric, I agree. Ferrari was shocking, but it wasn't all their fault, was it? the Charles Leclerc was running pretty well. Yeah, Charles Leclerc was running pretty well, and it wasn't his fault that Kimi Antonelli took him out. And then dubious call to bring him into the pit, I'd agree. But Hamilton, it was just a mistake after he'd been running so well. He just put that right rear on the painted part of the track at the wrong time after the track was a little bit wet. And it just took the car wide into the barrier. And you could see he was just wrestling, thinking he might be able to save it, and then game over. You have to put it down as a driver error for Hamilton, obviously. And it's, with his experience, he's obviously pushing the car harder than he's been pushing it before. He's driving the car better than he's been driving the car before. The car's quicker for him than it was before. You can tell by the increased in performance between him and Leclerc, getting it down to the gap down to a 1 or a 2/10 gap, which was great for Hamilton, great for the team. But yeah, he just made a mistake. He just made a mistake at the wrong time. And then Leclerc, maybe the team made a mistake bringing him in. On the team radio, we heard him say, I didn't need new tyres, guys, but they wanted to bring him in, according to the data, to get him out in front of Kimi Antonelli, which ironically was the car that then takes him out of the race. And if he hadn't made that call and hadn't tried to get him out in front of Kimi Antonelli, then it could have been a completely different race for Leclerc. So yeah, interesting Grand Prix. I do love Zandvoort. Like, I love the banked corners. Yeah, it just feels like an intimate track. I do enjoy the Zandvoort race meetings, and it's a penultimate one more next year, and then we're not going to see it on the calendar for some time. And I suppose Max Verstappen dominating here since I think it's 2021, 22 and 23, where he won 3 Grand Prix, second today. His home Grand Prix. I'm sure he'll be sad to see it go as well, but we've got one more, Zandvoort. We've got one more next year, and so we get to enjoy that. But overall, good race weekend. Unsurprising winner. A very surprising failure. Mechanical failure for Lando Norris, engine failure. The McLaren has been absolutely bulletproof. So yeah, surprising engine failure. And again, I've got him on the screen. Super weekend for Isaac Hadjar. To qualify P4 and then to hold P4 throughout the race. He didn't get that podium as a result of safety cars, wet weather, clever pit strategies. He got that podium today because he qualified P4, held P4, nobody overtook him throughout the entire Grand Prix, and then because of Lando Norris's engine failure, he gets a podium. That's why he gets driver of the day over Oliver Behrman, who went P19 to P6, which is obviously a fantastic result, but it wasn't all him. Team decisions came into that, luck with safety cars, etc., etc. Isaac Hadjar, it was all him. It was all him. Qualified P4, held P4, regardless of the external factors in the Grand Prix, and then took his podium, deservedly so, after Lando Norris's engine failure. So yeah, that is why he is absolutely my driver of the day. Hey, Destroy, so I woke up late. I'm halfway through at the moment. Being an American fan, it's hard on the time management. Yes, it is. I know. It's like when we have to watch the boxing in the middle of the night when it's in Vegas. It's hard. You want to watch the spectacle, the Vegas boxing, but God, you're up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning over here to enjoy that boxing match. So yeah, I understand. I feel your pain. Detroit. Well, listen, enjoy the Grand Prix because you're watching it for the first time. I hope I haven't given you a load of spoilers and ruined it for you. But do enjoy the Grand Prix, Destroy. It's a fun one today. And yeah, let's get to the chat. So we've got Eric saying about Aston Martin. Yeah, Aston Martin did great today. They did do great today. And Gemma, you guys will have it easier when he gets to Vegas. That's true, Gemma. We'll be up late for that one. That's what'll happen. We'll be up late for the Vegas Grand Prix. Listen, guys, that is your Dutch Grand Prix roundup. Thank you so much for watching. I love having you guys in the chat. It really does make it fun. And if you are watching this on replay, get your comments in. I'll respond to as many as I possibly can. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. It makes a huge difference to the channel. It really does. I'm super, super grateful. Tell your friends. Let's build the best F1 community we can right here at F1 Grandstand. Thanks again so much. I hope you enjoyed your Grand Prix weekend. Ta-ta.